In the book, Tessa, Will and Jem obviously live in really different times. Did you kind of take those historical things into consideration when you were deciding how they were going to behave, particularly with regards to Tessa as a young woman at that time? Did you find it affected how your characters were going to act, or...?
Well, yeah, I mean, Shadowhunters stand outside of society a bit, and they've always looked down on mundane society, so I did make them much less formal than Victorians of that era would necessarily be. The adults Shadowhunters address each other by their first names, which they would never do. And eventually Tessa and Will and Jem address each other by their first names because I could only do Miss Gray and Mr. Herondale and Mr. Carstairs for so long. It was driving me nuts. But normally that, they would have missed and disturbed each other for much longer. So I deliberately, made the Shadowhunters less formal. But it definitely affects the way that they behave with each other. I mean, if you look at, if you watch their behaviors and whatnot, they don't touch each other. They almost never, unless if they do, it's a big deal. I mean, Jem can only, or Will can only touch Tessa. If it's a dangerous situation or battle or something, but like if they're walking together along the street, Jem could only take Tessa's arm if, say, he had to help her over something or across something. Otherwise, no touching. Even riding alone in a carriage together is a big deal. So all of it, you kind of have to take all of that stuff into consideration, and so I kind of view it with more significance. So getting in a car with a boy, for Clary is nothing. Getting in a taxi with Alec or James, but for Tessa, getting into a carriage with Will or Jem is a big deal. To be alone with a boy in a small space, big deal.